former Chief of Army Staff, retired Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai. They say generals are never retired and they're never tired. So thank you so much for joining us. He's joined us virtually from a location just right outside Abuja. General, what's the weather like where you are? I'm sure you're happy to see the rains because we understand you've since become a farmer.
Well, you know, it's a rainy season, so we contend with it, and we appreciate Almighty God giving us the very good rains these days. But it has its own consequences with the floods all over the country and globally. We pray for a good bumper harvest.
Well, I am glad that you are on your farm and you're able to carry out your business as peacefully as you possibly can. But I do not know if that goes for all farmers, because in some instances, we understand that farmers are unable to, get access to their farms, or that they have to pay some access fee, some taxation to bandits to enable them get access to their farms. I don't know whether you are aware of this sort of situation and whether you have like an overview of what the current security situation is like all over the country, as a matter of fact.
When you talk of security, actually it transcends beyond just the farmer having access to his farm, even mobility, transportation across the interior of our country. It's really unfortunate we continue to have these security challenges. But by and large, it's not something that we will say, just started. It has been going on for quite some times, and it is something that has really permeated the society. And this is one of the dangers of allowing this type of insecurity, insurgency in particular, to prolong. And you can see that virtually so many elements, from the ward head to the village head or community head to the local government and up to the state and federal level. You see all the apparatus, all the elements, all the actors, one way or the other, they are associated or accused of, allowing this thing to go out of control. But by and large, there is serious need for community resilience in order to tackle some of these remote issues, like farmers not being able to go into their farms to farm peacefully, or they are attacked and killed or abducted, as well as kidnapped. It has become a cankerworm, sort of. But you see, the solution is multifaceted as well. It's not just reliance on government. While government, has overall responsibility, but individuals, communities, the actors on the ground there have very important role to play. From the local government, the chairman, and so on, as well as the state administrations. But I want to say that there is need for serious dialogue amongst all the parties or individuals or stakeholders within the community, within the local government, within the state. That is the way out for it. And I know we had a terrible experience while I served as chief of army staff, where we see families, father, mother, all the children, all the siblings, they are all involved in this terrorism or sort of, or supporting the terrorists. So it's something that has been allowed to go along to permeate or to stay too long with us, and it's very dangerous.
Mm. Yesterday I listened to the Chief of Defense Staff, give an update on the current security situation in the country. I mean, we certainly, as my colleague did reiterate several times yesterday on the program, we certainly pay respect to the sacrifices that our security personnel continue to make in different facets. We know that they're making a lot of effort, and we pay respect to that. However, you know, people are still a little worried about and anxious about the security, especially when you look at what it is that happened only recently this week. When you look at the killings that we understand have now resulted in the death of about 50 people. When you look at the report of the National Human Rights Commission, which also came out this week, talking about what the state of human rights is, especially the right to life and freedoms here in our country, is month and month. It does appear that in some instances we make progress, but then it appears we take 2 steps forward, and then another month we will take 3 steps backward. So I do not know what your own impression is. Do you think that as a people, because this conversation sometimes happens as to whether or not we are at war, and whether we have accepted that this, if you say indeed we are, is everyone aware that of who we are fighting? You know, if you say that Nigeria is at war, the question will be with who, and whether the general citizenry have been made aware that the state of the security of our country, the unity of our country, is currently being threatened, maybe by forces that we're not currently aware of. And have we put a system in place to make sure that we're able to win this war, whatever it is?
Well, very good point about it. Thank you for raising this issue. You see, or if you can remember, just before I left office, and of course immediately when I left office and was appointed ambassador to the Republic of Benin, I sent a note of warning, excuse me, that this insurgency, you know, may last longer. I don't want to count the number of years I mentioned. You know, I say it would last longer. It's a sort of a warning that we really need to have a long-term plan. It is not something that you just wish it away, you know. And you see, I want to give an example. Not trying to give any excuse, but the point is, when there are national crises, we need to mobilize everybody, not just the military alone. Look at COVID-19. How much was spent? How much was invested into information, into communication, into advertisement, and so on, into palliatives, into a lot of preventive measures. So much. The whole nation was locked down because of COVID-19. But we can do the same thing. We can lock down this country to make sure that everybody, concentrates and deal with this cankerworm of so-called terrorists and bandits and kidnappers and so on. It is very fundamental. It's very important. I want to take also another example. Maiduguri flood last year. The whole country mobilized and supported the Borno state government and the people of Borno to bring relief, to make sure that the people were rehabilitated in the whole of the state. And it helped a lot. Same thing can be done to mobilize everybody to the northeast, to the northwest, psychologically, through social media, through press, and so on. Individuals can support communities. It is quite fundamental.
General, sorry to interrupt your thoughts.
Let me come to the military. You see, the military is just one aspect of the overall state function or state activity or national activity. We must get it very clear that apart from the military, we have the economic line, we have the social line, we have the political line. It's very important. And we can see from all indications, the political line, there is the political will. There is no government, present or in the past, that does not want insecurity to be nipped or to be addressed properly. And resources have been, earmarked and released for such security. But you need to get it properly situated. Get it also, make sure that the social aspect, the underlying causes are all addressed. It's not just a matter of, relying completely 100% on the military to solve the entire security challenges. There is an underlying cause. It was started from within the society. It was started, through some political actors. And it was essentially a political, issue. This insecurity is essentially political. And now it's been left to the military and the political actors, staying behind. So this is something that there is need for total, review of the security, aspect in terms of political, associations or political involvement and so on. I'm not saying of this political, this government, it also met it. And something that has been on right, 2-3 governments back. So, and we cannot continuously see the military, as a problem to solving this insecurity. They are the solution, one aspect of the solution, and they will play their role very well if they have good support. The whole system is behind them. Let me tell you, any soldier that is in the field holding weapon and standing before or in between himself and the people of Nigeria, with the adversary, he is very important.
Indeed. Indeed,
very, very important. So there is no way you will demoralize him. Let me make this point. You cannot demoralize him. If you demoralize him or you despise him, make things difficult for him, then you are endangering his life and that of his family, and you are endangering the life of the whole Nigerians. And that is why we need to give them complete support to make sure that they succeed in the field. And mass mobilization are needed.
These are very important points that you've made, General Buratai. Community resilience is something that you've talked about there. And then, of course, a whole system support for the soldier on the ground. And then, of course, you also talked about, the fact that in many ways we rely on the military for everything. Meanwhile, there's police, there are other security agencies, but somehow every focus is on the military. Now, just so that you can explain to us what you mean by community resilience and a whole system approach to supporting the troops, in what ways can we improve on the support of the troops right now? And what do you mean when you say community resilience is necessary for this?
Thank you very much. You see, first of all, the support that is needed, for the military is for the first. If you look at it, it may be intangible, but the morale is very important. Morale is very important. These soldiers who are on the ground are ready to die any moment, and it is reality. There have been casualties on a daily basis, and not even in smaller, in 1 or 2, but in some numbers, and every day is being reported. So their welfare must be improved. It's good support. We must also give them the privilege, not to despise them or to abuse. There are so many. If you look at the social media, even some reportage, you must give them that moral support. The military is doing its own part. To make sure that terms and conditions of service are met. But there is, first of all, the complete reorientation the belief that the soldier is sacrificing for everybody in our country.
Indeed.
And he needs to give his best, and we must give him that moral support.
So you mentioned two things, General Buratai. You mentioned two things.
Just a minute.
Welfare.
He needs that further training.
Yes.
Sufficient funding, for him to tackle, myriads of problems. Sufficient welfare, and there must be an understanding between the government as well as the people to know that whatever is spent on the military is not just for nothing. Its results will be achieved.
Okay.
But when certain funds are released and you now start saying, the military gets so much and so on, and demoralizing the troops, it makes it very difficult. Community resilience is something that it should be well streamlined. Every society, in the past, they have their own systems of defense. But unfortunately, our local government's, administration or system has virtually collapsed. It has collapsed in so many areas. We don't have strong local government administration. And this is a very big setback for community resilience. But there is need for deliberate effort to bring back these local government administrations. And we must involve the traditional rulers. We must involve the religious leaders across, community leaders, family heads. They are all very important, and also resilience in terms of information, that anybody that is not part of your society, community, you should identify him and make sure that he is fished out. They all live within us.
Indeed.
And we identify them, we must bring them out. They live along with so many of those people, of the people living in the community.
Yes.
Let me finally give you an example. As at the time between 2019 and 2020, we had involved, a number of community heads and some leaders, youth leaders, who have contributed effectively in ensuring that many of those collaborators, their informants, were exposed and were picked. And we had a very good success. As at that time, you see them even calling for dialogue or something like that. So there is need for the community to support the military, giving information, providing the necessary backing and guidance,
Indeed.
In terms of the terrain to the troops.
So, General, now that we're talking about communities, let's talk about state police. The conversation, became a little rife this week, when we looked at local vigilantes and the training and their performance and the things that they do. Some of them do things that may be a little embarrassing even to the state government, But it brought up the conversation about state police. Just your thoughts on where we are in that conversation and what can be done. Well, maybe, I don't know if you are for it or against it. If you are for state police, what can be done to fast track its implementation across the country? And if you're not, why?
Well, first of all, I want to really commend the Anambra State government for the action taken on what happened on the youth COPA in Anambra State. It's really unfortunate. But I believe the government has done the right thing. As of this morning, I understand the police has taken over the case. They've sent the culprits to the police for proper investigation and prosecution. I'm a strong advocate of the state police. It's very, very important. But I am concerned, and I'm not afraid of our own level of development in terms of technology, in terms of even resources that we'll be able to use, to fund this state police. We also have the issue of political interference. There will be serious political interference that some, I'm not saying all, may use the state police against their political opponents. as well as use them against people they perceive as their enemies. So unless we reach that level of maturity, with all apology, in terms of our development, in terms of our administrative system at the local government level, now we don't even have effective local government administration, where you can say as local government administrator or chairman has full control. He can't even get himself properly organized. Then how can he have police that he has to manage?
Well, based on your work on the ground, General, based on knowing the Nigerian people right now and knowing where we are developmentally and how we behave, especially when it comes to politics and things like that, how long do you think, in your view, it will take for us to get to where we can handle something as delicate yet very important as state police?
Well, maybe I don't want to give any specific deadline or so. But the issue is we must be prepared, and if there should be state police, it must have a definite guideline, its own aware of operations, without any interference in terms of its deployment, its operations, without being partisan. When we are ready to do that, then I think we can safely say the state police has come to stay.
Indeed.
With all our respect to the Nigeria police, there have been several complaints on, interference one way or the other. But that's a complaint or an allegation. But, it's something that, needs to be addressed as well, so that to disabuse the minds of the Nigerians or the populace to accept, the state police. You can see some states are doing very well, like Amotekun. We have what do you call it? This vigilante Mbanga in other parts of the country, and so on. Those some of them are doing well, and but when you streamline it and formalize it, it becomes a political tool. It may become a political tool. And even now, some of the vigilantes in the states, some of them have been accused. And that's one of the origins of the fight between the Fulani and the farmers in Zamfara state in particular. That was the origin. And apart from this, there are several other factors. But by and large, it's one of the contributory factors. So we must be very careful. Yeah. And we have this 4-year transition or the system of governance. After 4 years or after 8 years, what happens to the allegiance and loyalty, to the next administration? And definitely, everybody would like to take advantage of whatever resources and forces he has in his hand. How neutral can they be? Even, some reasons best known to some political parties or actors, they always, if they are not comfortable, they accuse, the military of being, one way or the other, supporting the government in power and so on. So this must be eschewed. This must be clearly defined. And I know the armed forces are loyal, they are patriotic. It's the nation first. I think if we have to get a state police, then that factor must be taken into consideration. And mind you, we may have some challenges also within the state in terms of the geopolitical spread, even within the state, as some states are feeling marginalized. So you end up having more of the local police belonging to one zone, and then the other one are less represented, and so on. So, but by and large, this is just a matter of development. I believe by the time everything stabilizes and we have a stable system where we understand each other, and that is the need for unity, not only at national level, but at the states and local government levels. All of us must be seen to be one as far as the development and progress of our respective states and country are concerned.
Well, General, we know that you have since delved into other matters apart from you being a farmer. You've also, entered the realm of politics. So when you talk about politicians now, I'm sure that you know the people that you're talking about. Can I ask you what ambitions you nurse, after having joined a political party?
I think my ambition is to be a statesman. A national statesman.
You do not want to run for any political office?
I don't think now I have any idea. If I have, almost 5 years or plus since leaving office, you've not had me going for any political office, unless if you want to invite me or any other person who wants to invite me. But now I think I am comfortable being a statesman. I know the terrain, I know the political. No, a statesman is also a politician, But
are you bidding your time?
With caution.
Are you bidding your time?
I think so, but when you call me at the right time, I will think about it.
You will let us know when your people have bought a form for you. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, our political atmosphere is very dynamic. There are those who are very concerned, though, about how we play politics, about how it would seem that there is this cycle, this unending cycle. We're just 2 years into the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, and clearly politics is already heating up in almost all of the political parties. We've seen the formation of the ADC. We've seen the attempt at resolution within the PDP, even though it's not quite there yet. We've seen even the APC and some of the very disturbing allegations. Yesterday, we had a conversation with a chieftain of the APC who alleged that a sitting minister was trying to assassinate him. I mean, you're a member of the All Progressives Congress. I do not know if you caught that particular interview and what you made of it. But what do you make of the general political climate as we currently speak, given also the state of things in our economy?
Well, I did make one statement, a few weeks back, in terms of, what is happening within the country. But, as a historian as well, I always take history, as a basis, by which, we should gauge, what is happening now. And I want to believe whatever is happening now is not new. Our political evolution, from pre-independence to independence to first, second, third republic, it has always been virtually the same. It's the same trend in terms of our economy. Certain dynamics, always influence, what is happening at that moment or at any political, season. And it has not changed, and Nigerians, are resilient. And I believe we will overcome whatever challenges we have now. And I mentioned before that every previous administration, that I know of as a young adult then, has always, at one point or the other, tried to leverage or take advantage of the petroleum factor, to either reduce the subsidy, which is very rare. I think it happened only once or so, and then also to increase. To remove subsidy, or to leave it as it is, or to increase it.
General, so, let me interrupt to make my question a little more succinct. Do you have a note of warning for politicians as they're playing politics today, or do you think, because you have made reference to history, or do you think that they're okay and this is just how politics is played?
In terms of warning, I think they are playing their own game. We should allow politicians. I have a very good military background, 40 years. You know, and the military is not a small thing. And I have seen military administrations, and I have seen also this democratic civilian administration. While, you know, we believe in democracy, we have maintained, the military has maintained her neutrality in terms of democracy. It is something that we believe, you know, will make a lot of difference. Lessons have been learned, and I believe whatever is happening now is something that, you know, is being done deliberately in order to make things better. But if it is not being done the way others feel, you know, they have their right, you know, to raise issues. But to talk of the case of the ADC allegation, I think the season has just started, and I think there is need for more caution as the political tension, you know, our political season comes in closer. You know, there will be more tension. So we really need, you know, to be cautious in terms of what is said and how the politics should be played. Politics is a game, and it is something that you either win or lose. And once you are in position, you have all the resources, the powers, you know, to improve on the lives of the citizens. And that is the aim of every politician. And I believe the present government, you know, has not, you know, done otherwise in terms of, you know, maintaining its own statement. Because nobody will come and tell you that they don't want, you know, to bring best thing for the people. But policy differ, and the implementation, they also differ. And I want to believe lessons have been learned, and it requires dialogue, understanding, and also, let me use the word prayer, you know, for the nation to come out of whatever challenges we have, be it economic, security, social, and so on. We need prayers, and we also need the support of every well-meaning Nigerian. And as a statesman, I will continue to maintain that position. I know I said I spent over 40 years as a military man, and I played very prominent role while in service, a very strategic role, and I know what we achieved. And I would not like to throw it to partisan position.
Fair enough, General, fair enough. We certainly will, you know, follow the trajectory. We never can tell if your people will eventually buy you a form and then you'll be forced to run, as we see many politicians, you know, forced to do in our climate. So we have to thank you very much for speaking with us this morning. Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, retired, is a former chief of the Army Staff, and he's joined us. Well, he's also thrown his heart into the political ring, even though he says he's a statesman. And he's also a farmer and has joined us virtually from his farm just outside Abuja. Thank you once more, General.
Thank you. Thank you.